As soon as they walk in, it becomes all about them. God forbid you don't stop what you're doing and acknowledge their mighty presence, because in a narcissistic relationship, ignoring the problem could end up being just as bad as speaking up. Walking on eggshells may actually be your best option as you slowly inch your way towards the exit. Welcome to Deep Thoughts While Gaming. I'm Chris Chappell. A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead was released October 17, 2024, taking advantage of a time of heightened stress as our country once again contemplated which media personality would be on the next presidential commemorative coin. The conversations around things like breathing once again became complex affairs. Our family members becoming monsters we could trigger with the slightest movement. Our coworkers just waiting for us to say a word. Everyone feeling they were the messiah. Everyone shaking their fist at their neighbor from their inflatable kiddie pools while scared to have a fist shaken at them. And so the developers at Stormmind Games saw it as the perfect opportunity to introduce a game that turns anxiety into a skill set. The feelings we carry in real life into a video game, and our loved ones into the monsters some of them really are. A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead isn't just a game, but a guide on how to survive. Because some people really are that sensitive. Some people really do feel they can walk all over you, and engaging with them may just not be worth the pain in the neck it confers. In The Road Ahead, you find yourself walking the path of Alex Taylor, an asthmatic college student and future baby mama, as she pregnantly wobbles her way to safety through a hellscape of extraterrestrial creatures with hypersensitive hearing. And later in the game, the ability to detect movement? Totally fair. Yes, Siri isn't the only piece of technology in your house listening to you anymore. A Quiet Place uses your mic, so you'd better stay quiet. This translates into not only the mechanics of alien isolation, but also adding the luxury anxiety of having moments where even your shaky hands could betray you. I wouldn't be surprised if the monsters could also smell the sweat on your brow. This game places the gamer in a position of hypervigilance, the game being slow but certainly not calming, broken up by moments of extreme terror, just like when Daddy comes home for Christmas. At least in the game, you have a gauge for checking when your actions are quieter than the ambient sounds happening around you. If only real life had something like that to help you stay under the radar of your deranged uncle at the next Thanksgiving. Eventually, the routine of hide and seek and holding your breath becomes more boring than exciting. The monster becomes less terrifying and more frustrating, with its constant need for validation fueling your need to get away, if for no other reason than to end the apprehension of potentially accidentally offending their low self-esteem. Reviews are mixed, but generally the game is viewed as sort of decent, with IGN's review giving the vibe that missing out on this game wouldn't be too big of a deal. However, doesn't mean it can't act as a launch pad for us to talk about why many of us may already feel familiar with that walking on eggshells feeling, and why the blind monster does look a little familiar. Narcissism, or what can also be understood as excessive self-love, is marked by bloated confidence, vanity, materialism, and a lack of consideration for others. US News said in 2008 that we're going through a narcissism epidemic, with 10% of people in their 20s at the time having had episodes of narcissistic personality disorder. We've all heard the term narcissist before, with images of people who are self-centered and insufferable popping into our minds. However, what is a narcissist really? And why do they often bestow the same feelings of dread on their loved ones as the monsters in this game? A narcissist can be many things. Narcissistic personality traits and narcissistic moments are something we all have sometimes. However, only 1 to 6% of people have what would clinically be classified as a narcissistic personality disorder. Though, according to a clinical psychologist and an expert on the topic, Dr. Ramani Durvasula from California State University, says about 1 in 6 people could be classified as narcissistic enough that it's noticeable. The DSM-5 has 9 traits and characteristics that classify someone with a supersized ego, all ultimately encompassing self-aggrandizement and preoccupation with maintaining their own self-image. However, because this self-image covers a frail and bitter low self-esteem, Any misstep could be seen as a challenge to it. Walking into the room with the wrong tone or energy could be enough to set them off. An uncharacteristic inhale fueling the fight of a lifetime. Every word labored as you question if it'll be your last before you set off the monster in your wife, or perhaps your mother, or perhaps maybe even some rando on the street. All potentially narcissists waiting to be offended by your existing too close to them. The unrealistic expectations they carry about themselves weigh heavily on you, with their low lack of empathy making it so that they often don't even see the challenges they put you under. High stress, emotional abuse, fear. Just like in a quiet place, narcissists change the energy of any room they step into, directing all the attention to themselves, generals in the battle for attention, with any step out of line sending you to the gallows. Public scorn, gaslighting, lying, manipulating, maybe ripping you apart from the waist even, I don't know. There's really no low that narcissists won't stoop to, as their holy mission sometimes requires prisoners and sacrifices to be delivered to the altars of their own ego. Is there any hope? How do we communicate with the narcissist? What can be done to help them change their ways? Dr. Durvasula says that much of the time, there isn't anything you can do to change these people. Avoiding them is generally the best option. Much like the aliens. It's just more trouble than it's worth, especially when narcissism becomes a commodity in our capitalistic age of social media. After all, when that monster walks into the room, you just can't help but admire its swagger. And he does carry an aura with him. Never forget, however, that he can't see the truth. No eyes, LOL. That he's just a stranger in a strange place. Uncomfortable, scared, reactive to even the slightest sound. His only redeeming quality being that he can terrorize you into submission, keeping you always walking on eggshells, with your only option being to tiptoe your behind out of there, because you don't have to live life like this anymore. Thank you for watching Deep Thoughts While Gaming, and remember, nobody loves you like you love yourself. You narcissistic bastard! Like Deep Thoughts While Gaming? Support more episodes on patreon.com/gamersunbeaten, or hit that join button to become a channel member. You'll unlock exclusive emojis, live streams, videos, a Discord server, and affirmations that you're perfect and don't need to change. And if you want more desperately clingy Deep Thoughts While Gaming, check out this episode about Doki Doki Literature Club and the pitfalls of sexual desire.